Drinking buddies. I realized recently that I've never shared with you my whiskey sour recipe, so we got to make it right now. Let's go.
I'm your drinking buddy.
All right, drinking buddies, whiskey sour. So first of all, you are going to need an egg white. And when you are working with an egg white, I notice a lot of people waste their egg yolk when they're working with an egg white, which is so sad. Because I would argue the best part of any egg is the yolk. So let's set that aside. All right, so in our shaker tin, we have 1 egg white. Next up, we're gonna do 2 ounces of bourbon. So if you're playing at home, just use 2 ounces of bourbon, unless you wanna be crazy like me, because I wanna use 1 ounce of wheated bourbon. So I'm gonna use some Maker's Mark. I went to try to take it off like it was a cork, forgetting that it's a cap. 1 ounce of Maker's Mark. And then we want a high rye. This is a wheated bourbon, but we want a high rye as well. So we're gonna use 1792 small batch for the other ounce. So like I said, if you're playing it along at home, just do 2 ounces of bourbon. But if you happen to have a high rye and you have a wheated bourbon, use 1 ounce of each. All right, next up we need some lemon juice in the party. We're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of this. Oh, whoa, I just went right into the shaker tin. This is my first time making a cocktail, apparently. So we're gonna go a little shy of 3/4 of an ounce since I just put some in there automatically, like it's my first time making a cocktail or something. All right, and then next up we need 3/4 of an ounce of maple syrup. A lot of whiskey sour recipes call for simple syrup. I like to use maple syrup in my whiskey sour recipes. All right, now first up, you'll notice there's no ice in my shaker tin. That is because we're gonna do a dry shake first. We're gonna dry shake this for about 30 seconds. You want a really tight seal on there, otherwise it'll start to leak. All right, now is the time where we're gonna add ice. I'm gonna have ants in this room tomorrow. All right, we will add some ice to our shaker tin. And we'll shake again. And then just pour into a chilled rocks glass. And you'll notice it has a great creamy foam texture on top. And with that, you're gonna want to drop a few drops of Angostura bitters right on top. These droppers aren't the best. Sometimes if you get a really nice eyedropper, you can do a little design there or whatnot, but I'm not that fancy. I just want to drink something nice. And then on the side, we have our egg yolk. What are we gonna do with that? You can just sprinkle a little bit of some nice salt on it. I got here some truffle salt. A little bit of truffle salt on top. Feel free to use regular sea salt. And then you need some hot sauce. I'm gonna use this Poblano. It's a local hot sauce. Love this stuff. Few drops of Poblano on top. And you have yourself here a whiskey sour and a prairie oyster. All right, drinking buddies. So I think I'm gonna actually do a dash of this Angostura bitters in this prairie oyster as well. Now, I'm not an oyster fan, but I sure am an egg yolk fan. Down the hatch. Whiskey sour next up. Super frothy, super creamy. I'm not necessarily picking up on the high rye or the wheated mash bill on here. I'm just picking up a great bourbon note. Angostura bitters are bringing in some wonderful fall spices. It's citrusy. It's like adult lemonade, but creamy in texture and wonderful. If you're not into using the egg white, you can use aquafaba, which is like the juice from a can of chickpeas, or they have some liquid elements you can pick up at a liquor store that are like drops of emulsifier that you add directly to the cocktail when you shake it. And then if you're just worried about like a raw egg yolk or a raw egg white, you can always just buy the pasteurized egg whites in a carton and use those. They've been pasteurized, so they're safe to drink raw. Drinking buddies, whiskey sour, delicious, delicious, delicious cocktail. Make one at home. Tell me how you make them at home. I'm noticing right now, I'm remembering that I put maple in here, and the maple is so subtle, it's just adding in a sweetness. I don't really pick up that much of a maple note at all. Anyway, drinking buddies, we'll see you on the next one. Like, share, and subscribe.